to a bit of a bait and switch, you know, who goes there first? Are you really willing to leave it until the last moment? And then FAV are the ones who didn't turn away from the pistol and have said, let's get into Coastline, Ace.
Let's get into Coastline and let's get into those operator bans. We're going to kick things off. DAMWON Kia on the defence will have the first ban, and it's going to go to Lion. Second time that we've seen Lion banned out today.
This map draws a lot of Lion bans.
It does.
You see it across both regions.
Or a lot of Lion play if it's not banned out.
Yeah, in the rare case that we do get to see a Coastline, because very rarely is it picked in either region at the moment. Yeah, Lion is just one of those ones that does get taken away. Second ban to come through, I imagine we'll see something else more geared towards, that's a surprise, I was going to say something geared towards potential roam clear again, but no, in this case the Flores taken away for the second time today.
Going to be, you know, we know how powerful that operator is. We know those Rotero drones can be pesky nuisances, but they won't be here on Coastline, and the utility will breathe a slight sigh of relief at the survival. Now, Kaid's an interesting one.
That's for the VIP wall.
It
the
is
only reason why. I've never ever seen him banned on this map.
Yeah, it's the only use of Kaid, really, on this map is that VIP wall now. So that's pretty targeted towards a specific wall, Des.
I was so shocked when I saw that come up. I was like, why? I mean, finally there is some kind of normality in the bans as Valkyrie going to come out as the final one. No surprises there at all. You know, Mira, an option for a couple of sites. Penthouse and Theatre is here sometimes getting picked upon, so maybe you'll see her brought out by a team here. Heaven knows, time will tell. But one thing I am very much enjoying about this map is the changes to the kitchen service site. And where we now have defenders often holding inside a security, that actually becomes a contestable point at the map for the attackers, or for the defenders, I suppose I should say. Very rarely will they try and hold it late into the round, but now you can open the triple wall that looks inside of service, and given you now have to plant in that line of sight, security is just a wonderful long angle for the defenders to play on and blast down any attackers that try to come in from the service entrance side. But let's see what spicy picks we get to see being brought along on this map, Ace. So far, it looks like to be nothing too creative. Looking towards the Mute Mozzie on the defensive side for that information to Gnarl. And on the other, well, it's pretty plain sailing. Maybe the Finker the one you'd look at, but given her rise recently, it's not really going to surprise anyone. No,
not at all. Now then, up to the top floor we go. Pretty standard from the defenders. We've got the Mute Mozzie combo. Just try and keep a lot of the drones off the top floor here particularly, and just keep that information for the attackers to an absolute minimum wherever possible. But rotation's being opened up by the Sledge with the shotgun. He's going to reinforce that middle panel, which is, again, pretty stock standard what we normally see. It prevents a long line of sight all the way from the Hookah window through right into billiards. Now, there's a bit of utility going over on the Penthouse side of things. Obviously, the VIP wall is being muted off, but it just looks like we're going to have somebody playing Penthouse Theatre as well, and that really does just shout that we want to keep hold of VIP.
Yeah, and it's a very common extended hold you'll see on this map as well. You'll sometimes see a Vigil off roaming around inside a service entrance. It's definitely not as popular as it once was, but I know players like Citizen used to do it back in the Na'Vi days. LM's often likes running it too on this map sometimes. So look at it that way if you want to, but it's all about the wasting time out towards the east, burning through utility. You see it on every single map, so it really doesn't come as much of a surprise. However, with this wall muted off, it means that those Selmas will not be able to get anything open just yet, but a cozy frag grenade comes through, and open the wall shall be, which does restrict somewhat for the defenders who may be playing inside a Penthouse, using that as a retreat option. And fairly so, it does mean they'll be forced down to the south or back towards site. Woogie currently alone inside of Theatre with Yas just off on the white stairs.
And you can see straight away that everybody in VIP has been forced out. As you say, it's largely going to come down to the man in the side of Theatre now. Woogie Man still holding on to this, despite that soft wall being opened up by the Buck. Looks to take the challenge onto the window, but he's repelled his way down to safety for the time being. Typon finds an opener. It could be a big one onto a critical player as Yas goes down, but Ring comes in, talking to critical players, and finds himself a double, and that's going to swing things back in the favour of DAMWON Kia.
Yeah, 2 from VIP as well. Again, just now reinstating the roam essentially for DAMWON Kia. Now they've got that number advantage. Why wouldn't you be looking to take more early gunfights and try and press the advantage? Number 2, though, making me look like an absolute fool with that kill onto Rin, shutting down any possibility of that being a play. So now with more of this eastern side control established, with VIP cleared out, this is where FAV should start picking up the pace. And it's one thing to say this is not a big map. That does mean that realistically you should not be spending 2.5 minutes just dealing with roamers. Start thinking about that site and the execute. You know, DAMWON have done a good job, I think, in wasting time here, given it's still the 3 versus 3.
Typon collecting that diffuser, looking to move a little bit more directly towards site, just poking his face over there, and having a little look, shooting out the window, just trying to gather more information. We're in that sort of mid to late round phase where DAMWON Kia, they're just trying to hold on at this point. 3 versus 3. They're waiting for this final execution, and they've pretty much got themselves set, still and ready inside a sight. And FAV Gaming, they're going to have to try and force their way in. They've got the double window, they've got access into Aquarium, so they're looking good here at potentially having an opportunity to get a diffuser put down. There is a bulletproof cam there that could cause a bit of a nuisance, but Taipon's going to take it out with that Zephyr utility. So Afro on the cover, as well as number 2 out on the window. It's going to be all down to these final 10 seconds to try and get the diffuser down. Taipon pushes in aggressively to deal with the smoke and does exactly that. There's the opportunity, rushing immediately past the default plant spot, but it has left them in a tricky spot because the kills come in from Courted, shuts the man down, shuts the plant down, and there's nothing that number 2 can do from the window. Bit of a close one for DAMWON Kia, but they managed to get that one done.
Yeah, I mean, the plant was coming in there, and I think fortunately they knew that he was on the other side of the wall. It's becoming more of a common plant spot as well. Often what you'll do if you're attacking up from, say, Cool Vibes and VIP is plant on the other side of that half wall that kind of juts out, and that one is a much safer spot to plant in, assuming you've got the hallway and vase control. Here, I think just a little bit too much exposure inside a hookah. Not much you can do once the shotgun gets pulled out and blasts start flying through the wall. But we touched on the time being ran down by DAMWON Kia out on that extended hold ace. 2 minutes burnt. And you saw the effects of that as the round trickled in towards its conclusion. Kitchen and service going to be the second site that we step down to. I mentioned in the pre-game those changes that have come through where holding security is now a lot more viable for the defenders. I'm keen to see if they have 1 or 2 looking to contest on the south side of the map early on. And, of course, if they open up the triple wall.
Setting up inside of Kitchen. Then we've got one immediately darting towards main lobby. So as you said, there's going to be an extended hold to some degree. Not sure where they've disappeared to. Probably off upstairs. Yep, there we go. Looking for Penthouse Theatre once again. Of course, a lot of vertical angles that can be gained from up there. So again, just play a man up there. Try to hold on to things as best as possible.
Yeah, I think the top floor ones are the things that we're used to seeing. And I thought with the mirror not being banned away that maybe you'd see it pulled out here. But if nothing else, it suggests it's not going to be as heavy an investment coming out of the side of DAMWON Kia. And given there are reinforcements out towards Bar on the far west side of the map, that only goes to confirm it. So a lot of control being sought out by the Korean side here on their defensive roam. And the one thing you've got to watch out for is if FAV do come in hard and fast, as we saw coming out of T1 in their game earlier on today, that's when you might find yourself being caught out. And look at this as well, even up towards the far north. So they've got this, they've got down inside of blue, they've got Penthouse Theatre control. It is a lot of ground to cover, which makes me a little bit nervous, but maybe it's the expectation for the side of FAV that they'll want the top floor control first and foremost, means you have got a chance to waste time here and not worry about those rotates being cut.
Legator just holding it down the Sunrise and Blue Bar windows there. The work is being done here, but not really getting any ground for FAV at the minute as DAMWON Kia just hold on for the time being and still managed to keep that side of the map locked down as it stands. Yas is looking to get aggressive onto the office door potentially. Just trying to do everything they can here, FAV, to find any way inside of the map, but so far unsuccessfully. But then Shin manages to find one onto Yas, but once again it's Rin that's there to back it up, to get that trade out and to level things up at 4 versus 4. Coming up to the halfway mark, and FAV now in control of Sunrise, but only 1 kill on the board so far. A little bit of work to be done. We've got the Iana down in office just holding. We've got a little bit of a standoff going off down there between security and office.
Yeah, as mentioned, this is where defenders often want to play. It's not quite the full vertical or the full lateral view straight inside a service that we're used to seeing from some European teams. But at least on this front, it is holding down this area. And I mentioned that defenders will want to contest it. It's exactly what's going on here. Shin, at least for now, is rooted inside of office after the man defending Rooney was forced a little bit further back. Nade not quite doing the full damage it needed to. More of a tickle. Woogieman still stands.
Woogieman just dipping back into the main lobby for the time being. Just doesn't want to commit too heavily to that fight. Doesn't really need to, but it's also important for the Iana of Shin to try and just hold off that flank and prevent the damage being done by anybody rotating around on that side. Now, we've got 2 inside a site. The pressure is going to start to mount as we move into the final 45 because FAV are going to have to find a way of getting this done. They're going to have to push this somehow. Courted, he manages to get the kill onto number 2. 2, and DAMWON Kia's patience is paying off right now. Woogieman gets Shin. Afro does manage to get in and get one, but it's all falling apart here as Woogieman, he finds another, and now it's 3 versus 1. Legator taking huge damage through the soft wall there. Surely going to be finished off soon. Somehow finds Katsang, but with nearly 15 seconds left to go, it's surely going to be too much for him to do. He's got the diffuser in hand, but also very low health at this point in time, and surely the seconds are going to tick away, and DAMWON, they're just going to hold their angles, force him to play, and try and make him make a move, which is exactly what he does. It is a bait play, but Rin will take those final few hit points.
Yeah, we spoke about it in the last round. Same story in this one. You saw that clock running down to about 40 seconds. They still had the Mozzie control above. You still had the Aruni holding out inside a lobby. Just not as much control taken by FAV as would have been required to go for a push inside a service. The long angles being contested from security, from lobby. It was just well played and a bit too comfortable from DAMWON Kia is the only way I can describe it. FAV do need to up the pressure and up the pace a little bit here. You are on one of the smallest maps in the game where Theatre is the only site that is not connected in some way to a window or external facing doorway. You've got to move a little bit faster than how they are so far, and I thought we might see the mirror get stuck, but no. Changed away at the last second instead. The alibi going to be gracing us once again.
Round 3 then, and DAMWON Kia going well on the defence so far, which is a little bit unusual for Coastline. DAMWON Kia going to be feeling pretty happy at the moment, I would expect. Penthouse Theatre has seen itself rise in popularity as well since we had the recent couple of buffs to the site itself, to the map overall. Just the VIP wall particularly is a big one in making this site more viable, and you've also got the changes to the windows on the top floor, which just mean that the defenders can rotate around a little bit easier. They can move with a little bit more freedom, and things are just that bit easier inside a site. But still, the attackers do seem to find a way a lot of the time, and DAMWON Kia winning a lot of gunfights at the minute. Something they're doing particularly well is keeping themselves level in the man count. They're not getting behind. They're not letting FAV get on top of them, and at the minute it just feels like the FAV side that we've seen so far that have been struggling to find a way to get rounds over the line.
I mean, that's kind of been their story for the stage, right? It's been a... I've always described them as kind of the barrier to entry. In order to play in APAC North, you need to be better than FAV. And that sounds like a really silly, weird thing to say. But FAV have got enough gun skill on their side that even on days when they look slow and a little bit out of it, they can still blow teams away with more than enough gun skill on their side. And I think that's where their strength can shine at points. We're yet ready to see the team play become a massive thing for FAV, even after playing with them for, or seeing them play now for about 18 months. This hasn't quite been there. So for DAMWON Kia to beat them here is a good way to get yourself into the top 4 and stay there. And as currently things stand, they would, of course, be in 3rd place, unmoving as the way the points have currently got themselves positioned. Yas trying to go aggressive, but the man's on the deck, finds a kill, instantly traded back out. And this is one of those rounds where FAV have won those crucial gunfights. A 4 versus 2 now in session, and we're only 55 seconds into the round.
FAV definitely looking like they've got this one here. Two men left on the side of DAMWON Kia now. Woogieman and Katsang are going to struggle to hold this attack off, I would imagine. You've got access to the double window is basically free now because there's so few players there left to challenge it, so that's going to hold anything that needs to be held inside of Penthouse. They've not put anybody on there yet, FAV, but I'm sure it's a matter of time until they do when they start thinking about getting that diffuser down. There's going to come a hatch drop as well now. Woogieman's playing this very aggressive. He's decided to move himself right up to the Hall of Fame door there, and he's just holding an angle on it and looking to try and catch anybody out as they come in, but the problem is he probably only gets away with 1 kill there. But Katsang also going really aggressive. He's going to take the run out and get himself an absolute freebie into the back of Shin there, and that just goes to help DAMWON Kia somewhat, but there's an awful lot of time for them to hold off yet.
This might just be the biggest throw around if FAV don't win this, by the way. They've had 8 drones on side. They've had 4 players in a 4 versus 2 for 2 minutes and 5 seconds. We're down to the final 60, and what they've done in that time is preserve all the drones, but they haven't really used them, and they've lost a man in the process. This cannot be a lost round. This has to be the kind of round that at the bare minimum at this level, you can get a win in. Let's see if they can find these final 2. Woogie and Katsang, again, still the only 2 left alive. FAV need to get the pressure on.
Afro just challenging onto that 90 corridor.
Yeah.
That's a good kill. That's exactly what FAV needed, as you say. Legator opening things up with a kill onto Katsang, 1 versus 3. Now able to start getting that diffuser down. There's going to be no opportunity for Woogieman to cancel that off. That's a great kill onto that repel of the double window. Can he find himself a second? He does take a chunk of damage out of Legator, but they are now positioned. They're ready. They're going to hold those angles. He gets in. He sees the diffuser. Is he going to bait this out, or is he going to try and stick it? He's continuing with it, but Legator steps forward and gets that final kill.
Yeah, at least they got themselves the round win. Again, diced a couple of points. You know, the freebie coming in onto the window, for example. It was the right play coming out from FAV, but DAMWON Kia almost finding a way back in. However, it's the round on the board that FAV surely needed. It is 1. Now let's see them turn it into a couple more as the rounds progress. Cycling back to where we started in round 1, it's going to be Hookah and Billiards coming up next. In terms of the lineups, nothing really changing looking across them so far. Everything as it was back in round 1. The attacking side not bringing along the thinker that we saw previously. They've actually rocked number 2 on the Mozzie for a few rounds now, I think because they needed the nades on side, but for some reason didn't particularly want to play the sledge. Maybe it's more of a comfort with the gun thing there, Ace. Not
Possibly.
100% sure.
Yep, very possibly. Might you say we do see number 2 playing on sledge there, and like you say, they do have the strong preferences to these players towards guns particularly, and like you say, that comfort of just knowing exactly what and where it could also be. They may well have been questioning site choice as well, thinking, there was a possibility of maybe going to that second down floor site, so maybe wanting that vertical destruction as well. But as it is, they find themselves attacking onto the top floor. It's going to be Hookah and Billiards this time around, and they need to do better than they did last time around, FAV. They got themselves a little bit of a man advantage in the early round, but then just sort of threw themselves into DAMWON Kia and struggled to take any dividends from it, struggled to take any benefit from it, and just really didn't get the round over the line in the way that it looked to start.
I think more control will be given in this round on the sheer fact that Taipon is not playing on the Zofia, which he has done for the first 3 rounds, but instead has moved over to the Nomad. You know that DAMWON Kia like playing on these extended holes. They like having 2 or 3 players out in the map. A great way to stop that is to get the rotate cut set up, get the air jabs down, and suddenly you've almost cornered a couple of members and potential free kills on the side of DAMWON Kia, which is what you'd love to see at the start of a round. So it's only small adaptation, no Mozzie or Finker, which is what number 2 has ran for the first 3 rounds, but the sledge and the Nomad coming in does show a small adaptation coming out of FAV here moving into this second quarter of the game.
Shin just applying pressure towards Sunrise there. Ring going to dip away from pool entrance window. Not thinking about a challenge there anymore, but they do need to make sure that they deal with Rin. Definitely been a thorn in the side so far of FAV, and still on the roam underneath, as we can see. Ring getting aggressive here, which is pretty textbook for him, just getting in there looking for the gunfights. Shin just dumping the nade in there, I think looking for the utility up above, which it sounds like has been successful. The wall is going to be open now, so that will force the players back from VIP.
Legator is on his own up here on the balcony, mind you, so that laser gate, probably not one he wants to tank through. It's not the end of the world to burn it here, I'd say. You've got the VIP wall open. You can use the last 2 Selmas if you want onto the quad wall, but 1 would probably be enough. So it does have a way through, but I think the initial assault into VIP is going to be the focus. Afro, once again pushing in from white stairs. We saw him come in the window last time and blast a few holes in that wall, if you recall, Ace, onto the extended roamers coming out from the side of DAMWON Kia. And at least here with this beachhead established, it's not a bad start. But again, I'll always draw your eyes back to the clock. They've barely got any pressure on the west side of the map, and we're about 2 minutes in.
We've got Legator just heading over to luggage. He's going to clear more off those stairs for the time being. Maybe looking to push through and try and secure the presence in Aqua. Not going to... Oh, if he pops up now, he might just find his man. He's going to see him move across, but doesn't have the opportunity. Being careful about swinging too wide there. Doesn't want to expose himself, but it makes him very difficult to take that challenge on. Now then, bulletproof camera just being pinged out. They dealt with this utility very well last time around, but if you remember, it was the plant attempt that came in with the Zofia just sprinting through sight, and rather than going in behind the bomb chassis, looking for that further, deeper plant, and was unable to secure it. But Afro goes in, gets a good kill onto Woogieman, and I'm just wondering if we'll see a different approach to that plant this time from FAV.
Hopefully so, yeah. In comes one from Rin to try things back into the last 20 seconds, but 2 kills fly through for in orange. FAV getting both of them on the board before one gets swung back the other way. So things looking actually quite even here in the last 10 seconds, but FAV once again starved themselves out on time. Plant is going down. They've got the winner. They've found the kill. They know that it's going down. They have an idea as to where the man is, but the red ping's slightly off. For instance, one. There we go. The shutdown comes through. DAMWON Kia will find another round, and FAV punished by the clock once again, unfortunately, Ace.
Well, it's something that we've said before, Des, and I'm sure it's something that we will say again. You know, FAV just struggling to get themselves into those executable positions in a sufficient amount of time to give them a real opportunity to be able to shut things down now. We're going to be heading into round 5 with a reasonable advantage for DAMWON Kia here as they find themselves sat 3-1 in terms of the scoreline and cruising on the defensive coastline at the minute. They've managed to lock down Hookah and Billiards twice. They're going to go to Kitchen again now, which was the site that they won back in round 2. And FAV just really struggling to dislodge this side.
Yeah, slight change in the setup as well. Well, not really a small change, what you saw in the previous round as well. The buck and the sledge, perfect for this site. And I think seeing this lineup after seeing it in the previous, if you're on the side of DAMWON Kia here, you know that vertical control is going to be a massive part of FAV's attacks. And the thing is, at the end of that round, they had the right idea, right? Afro pushing into office to make sure there was no C4s below and found the opening kill. Great start. You've got the below control. You can make the plant safely in Aqua. All you need now is someone to push in and get the bar. The big issue is that entry kill from Afro came in with about 25 seconds left on the clock. And 25 seconds, as anyone will tell you, is not a lot of time to get an execute coordinated and pulled off. If they're giving themselves 20 more seconds, suddenly it's a lot more breathable. They'll be able to move and adapt a little bit to the 5 versus 4 they then found themselves in, and maybe you'd have seen a different outcome, but it's yet another round as said they've lost down to the clock or down to very low time. Let's see how Kitchen and Service shapes up. Again, that vertical control going to be a massive part of this round for me.
As you can see, once again, that presence, as you say, over towards Penthouse Theatre, all about keeping that vertical control that you pick up on, Des, that you say is so important. And for the time being, we've got Rin on the Mozzie again. Did a great job previously of just slowing the push down, being unpredictable, getting out into the map, and that's exactly what he's doing right now, just looking to, again, make it difficult to approach that top floor. Now then, FAV, just looking to push directly towards that nade, however, landing on the windowsill, clearing out the bar wire, but not the alibi. So the warning would still be there should they come in. Now then, they're going to clear off the utility, including the alibi, so that will give the option to open up that wall as well into VIP if they wish to do so. But for the time being, inside of the first minute, once again, DAMWON Kia just making it difficult to dislodge them out of Sunrise. It's something that they've done well so far, has been to pick their positions to play and hold on to them well. And, you know, for a side that we would say that this map isn't in their map pool, they're showing a pretty good understanding of defending it at the minute.
Yeah, doing a pretty fine job. I mean, it's an old map as well, right? Everyone's going to have a rough idea of how to play this, and with a couple of hours work on it, maybe you can get something scraped together that would look like a strat. And we've, criticised DAMWON before us and saying their map pool's very, very shallow. They're very predictable, as we saw at Mexico. Whereas I think here, at least by going to different maps and giving themselves some more tools in their arsenal, it's going to make them a much richer team in future when it comes to future majors or potentially SI, of course.
Katsang's now going to dip away from Sunrise, deciding that 1 minute 40 is enough to burn, but Lou Gator's going to burn his life away as he finds the headshot as the man strafes across the window there and into his line of sight, leaving us 5 versus 4. And FAV haven't necessarily struggled for opening kills. They've been able to get in there and get involved in the early rounds. It's all been about the back end, realistically, and getting in there and getting that diffuser down and making the lives of DAMWON a misery. DAMWON just happy to play inside a site. Also, I don't think Rin's been dealt with upstairs. Shin is holding cool vibes at the minute, but Rin has potentially got the opportunity here as the round progresses to make a real impact on this round.
I think playing the hatch as well, overlooking lobby here, so if there is a push that comes in from that side, well, they're running straight into Rin head first. However, the focus is entirely off towards Sunrise, and there must be a read from the side of DAMWON Kia. We're not being pressured towards the east. There's no one inside of office and luggage. Man, or inside of security, sorry. Man, I wonder where they're possibly coming from. They know there has been pressure on that west door coming into kitchen, so where are you going to power your focus? Most likelihood is get yourself set up for some expectation there. Contest the hallway, for example. It's readable is the best way I can describe it right now. And in they go as we hit the final 15 seconds. Plant is going down. No C4 to connect on one. Kota gets blasted down as he steps his way in. Woogieman going to have to go for the swing here. Misses some critical shots. And that's 2 straight back out the window. They've got away with daylight robbery there, Ace. Finally the kill comes through. We're back down to a 3 versus 3. And here's Rin on the flank. Sees the gun. There we go. Easy spray. First kill coming through in the round. The second one coming inside. But does he know where? Yes, he does. Just narrowly misses the shots. A 2 versus 2 now underway. And there's going to have to be some magic here. There's going to have to be a run out, and there it is. Sprinting maybe a little bit too much there, unfortunately, but Plant is being attempted with the defuse. Sorry, wins the first gunfight. Does they know where the second one is? It's out to the right-hand side. Number 2 just crouch walking ever so slowly here. Will he come off and win this gunfight? Yes, he will. He gets the down, and that's going to be a huge clutch coming out of the Woogieman. It's another round for DAMWON Kia.
That is absolutely unreal play from Woogie on the reverse angle of that window. Getting 2. You gotta say that FAV have given that round up, Des. They got the diffuser down, they got men outside, they had DAMWON Kia down to 1 man, and they both challenged on the window. It was difficult for number 2. He was approaching carefully. He knew there was the possibility that he was being baited there, but what he couldn't account for was Woogieman's ability to just flip onto that window and win the gunfight with his pistol. What a play from him. Woogieman, take a bow.
Really big round, just what they needed as well, because that genuinely looked like a round that FAV would walk away as the winner, right? 5 versus 3, diffusers down, 2 are outside the map, like, it's free. It's literally free. Yet the round has still gone against them. It was, almost kind of how I felt the third round might have gone, the one that they did win on Penthouse and Theatre. Clearly not one that DAMWON Kia are keen to repeat. They are going to step into Sunrise and Blue Bar rather than Penthouse and Theatre for the third site in their rotation. Hopefully for them, of course, this one goes the right way and they walk out of this half at 5-1, because that sends a big statement that they want this game over and done with as quickly as possible.
It certainly does. It certainly does. I mean, this is the thing. Looking at DAMWON Kia coming onto the attack, you got to expect that they're going to bring something to the table there as well. We know, how powerful players like Yas can be. He's been quiet so far on the defence, but I think you flip those sides over, he's going to be going in there chasing those roamers down, and he's going to be hungry for kills. If anything, I think his lack of kills in this half is just going to fuel that fire in the second half for him to get out and get some more, and FAV could really find themselves with backs to the wall.
I'll cry if they manage to catch a drone in that. I guess the idea being they don't know it's on left or the right side here. If they try and swerve to the right, then they maybe would expect to run into a mute jammer that would be on the left. Heck, maybe even as far as I know, there'll be 2 there. There could be options available for the defenders just to keep baiting them out, but you've seen where that mute jammer, the mirror windows, are gone. And I thought we'd see 2 committed out towards this side of the map rather than, 1 going inside a kitchen, but there is this extended ability to go here for a really aggressive hold inside of service. So it gives another challenge to FAV. Do we go above and try and clear these things out? Do we assault it head on? Do we abandon trying to push through service entrance, or do we just try and C4 2 of them on the window? Go on, Yas. Go on, Yas. Out it comes. Oh, yes, there it is.
Both. I thought he'd only got one.
The double coming through, and it is both. Man, we're so used to seeing players like scoot off to the far right-hand side to avoid C4s, avoid runouts, but both of them, without actually peeking the window, were basically sat on top of it. And that is an absolute freebie. And I've got a great question for you, Ace. Who counts as the opening kill in that round?
Afro.
All
It was the first on the kill feed.
But they both died at the same time.
But Afro was the first on the kill feed.
All right, then.
Coming into the real meat of this one at the minute as DAMWON are just starting to run away with things. 4-1, 5 versus 3 in the round, and looking very comfortable at the minute. Number 2 looking to clear the stairs off and try and push down Cool Vibes, but there's just nowhere to go, and this shows it. Katsang is sat there, he's ready, he's waiting, jaws are open, he just wants to clamp them shut. They've got some vertical presence now of FAV, they're able to open up a few angles onto site, but it's still a lot of work to do. They've got the mute jammer on the wall that is going to prevent that ace charge, forcing out the smoke from behind his deployable shield. I have a look down, we've got no nades left, Des. How are they going to clear that mute jammer out?
I could tell you for free there, Ace. They're not gonna. They're in a spot where, they've left up crucial utility like that at this stage in the round. They've lost 2 members that could have really helped them. The impacts on the Zofia could have done a lot for them, but here they're just left pushing in as they are. No walls opened up, just having to force your way through a single doorway and burning into utility. It's so free, it's not even funny at this point for DAMWON Kia. The 4 versus 2-1 finally brought back by number 2 onto Rin, who's had a wonderful game so far, really shining for this DAMWON Kia side. But as we hit those final 30 seconds, this is one of those rounds that I look at and I'm already resigned, Ace, to the fact that this is going to be a 5-1 half for DAMWON Kia.
Absolutely, that Katsang's just waiting to pounce here. He allows one, but he's not going to allow a second. Number 2, he is gone. He's out of there. Woogieman got one just before, and that finishes off the half for DAMWON Kia. And for all those looking and saying they had a limited map pool, it looks like they might have been doing a little bit of work, Des. And Coastline is another one that we can maybe add to the list, although I'm not sure we're seeing the best performance out of FAV at the same time either.
Yeah,
there's a bit of both going on, I think.
DAMWON Kia are playing it well. We can't take that away from them. They're playing these extended roams. They're getting out of the map and looking to cause a bit of trouble. The only thinking on that is relatively standard. You don't pick Coastline and then all hunker down as 5 men on site. That is just not the way to play this map.
No.
And although they are playing it well, I would probably come into what the Des were talking about. You know, this is FAV's game to win. You know, DAMWON Kia is to lose. Like, they really shouldn't be losing this game against FAV. And I think you're really seeing that come to light here, where it's just been struggle after struggle. I have a little thing I do in my notes where if I write XD somewhere, you know, the meme face, like whatever, I'll write that down if a round was XD. If it was ridiculous and ludicrous, I'll put that there. There are 3 rounds in that half that have got that little stamp of approval in that attacking half of FAV. It hasn't looked good at points. Like, this is, again, normally you have players on those kind of like pink and turquoise banners off to the side, but there's 2 of them sat here. And I'm just like, why? What are you hoping to achieve by having 2 of you being willing to contest it? The upside down repeller, you could be forgiven if 1 person died, but 2? It's a bit much.
That's it. You just can't be giving away. You know, but the thing is, it's always the same in Siege Jez. We can look at it from both sides. You can't be giving that away, but Yas has gone and got it. And that's, you know, the other point there. It's about, he's thrown it out there. He's probably got a little bit lucky. He knows that there's one on rappel. He's going to make that challenge. We see that Nitro challenge get made over and over. And that's sort of what makes it worse for FAV. You know that if you're rappelling on that window, there's the potential of a Nitro challenge coming out onto the window frame. So you can't leave yourself with 2 men within its range. You know, what are 2 men doing there? What are 2 men realistically doing on that window? You can't both peek it at the same time. Well,
you can.
You can try.
But it's not really guaranteed to add any particular merit to the attack, is what you're thinking of there.
Yeah, and you see exactly what happens when you do try.
Yeah, no, completely agree. And I like how the response coming out of DAMWON Kia on their attack to understanding that FAV like to play an aggressive game, that they will likely mirror DAMWON Kia and get out on the roam, is to bring along the DKB. Something we saw picked up earlier on today in the first game that we cast between Talon and T1. We said, okay, the line is banned away. What's the alternative to KB? And they picked it up and started playing with it throughout the entirety of the first half. I think it's almost some teams maybe look at it and think, no, we don't need the DKB. We can drone, we can clear. Whereas on DAMWON Kia's side, it's the acknowledgement of, look, there are probably better picks we could make in this situation, but the KB gives us a lot. It really helps with the drone clear. We're not above playing the KB to help deal with the roamers here, so I think it's a really smart call to start things off.
Katsang just setting up a drone, watching those main stairs there, and just trying to avoid any flanks coming up later on in the round. Rin just as well cautious, just aware that that is the potential there. Going to check on those cams, those drones once again, just trying to locate anybody that they can. Number 2 playing underneath in office at the minute, and that's certainly something that DAMWON Kia need to be aware of and need to recognise. Nitro in hand, and sort of player you wouldn't put it past to get one of those vertical kills to really make a nuisance inside a site. Now we see the utility getting cleared away here, but out come those Shumiker launcher shells, just looking to torch the ground around that default plant spot and make it as difficult as possible for DAMWON Kia to push their way in.
Right, so they've got the quad wall being opened up. They've got control of Aqua. There's 2 of them in there. They've cleared out the barbed wires, and the play apparently is to go hyper-aggressive here as well. Rin straight in, finds Typon completely solo, goes top of Vars, finds yet another juiced up, charging forward, looking for the dub. One more's waiting on cool vibes as well. An easy shutdown. Rin has just marched through and demolished this FAV side. 3 kills come out before finally number 2 has a response, but it's already a 1 versus 4 ace. I don't see how this one's won back here. The swing coming through. It's an easy shutdown. 4 still standing at the end for DAMWON Kia, and this looks like it's going to be an absolute rollover ace. 1 more round and they'll take the 7-1 win.
Rin's having an absolute field day today, completely and utterly unstoppable right now.
Go next.
It certainly looks that way. I'd be surprised to see too many more out of FAV, put it that way. The thing is, for FAV, it's not just about this one game. It's about that overall stage. It's about the standings. It's, you know, just about their general performances at this point, and it's understandable that they might be a little bit low energy, a little bit concerned, because, you know, it's certainly not been easy for them. We see them sat in 7th at the minute after this game, and things are getting tough for them now. They're getting, you know, it's really getting to that point where you've got to see who stands up, who's countered, and how you can start finding some wins, some points. And
yeah, and the scary thing
is, stage 3, it's pretty much done.
Yeah, you've got like what? Is it Playday 5 or 6?
6,
isn't it?
1 game left.
So you're in 7th, you're in relegations, you're in arguably the worst form we've seen you in, it feels like. And you've got T1, who, as we mentioned, in 8th place, are looking on fire, like one of the best in the region right now. They won't play against each other. That's a thing worth stressing. 7th place plays against the #1 seed from, I want to say, Korea, and the second from, no, 1st place from Japan and 2nd place from Korea. The winner of that game faces off against FAV, most likely. And on the other side, it's going to be the 1st place seed coming out of Korea, the 2nd seed coming out of Japan face off, and the winner of that game plays against T1. So whichever way you want to spice it up, I think I'd be much favouring facing off against the 7th team right now than the 8th, to be completely honest with you, Ace.
Now then, pushing into towards Penthouse Theatre, we've got the Jaeger there, just trying to hold on to that area. They're again, just cautious over that top floor control here, FAV. But honestly, I don't know how much of their choice it's going to be as to whether this gets taken over or not. Now, Quartered, just waiting with Selma in hand. I'm not sure exactly what the plan is. It's a rush, I can tell you that, as they try to go in, but Typon, he's ready for it. It was an interesting attempt at opening that barricade with the Selma and just creating a little bit of a diversion there, but 1-for-1 goes in either direction. It was an important kill from Typon, because otherwise a number of them were in through that window and they'd have started getting the diffuser down. Yas is going to find Afro, and somehow, even after that failed rush attempt, DAMWON Kia, even though beaten back, still managed to come away with a man advantage.
Yas, I think, literally being saved by the juice there, by the way. I mean, look at his HP, it's about 20, which is, of course, what you get on the overheal from the Finker. Might have just been enough to get in that win inside of Sunrise, so big for them. You've got one more call to come through from the DKB. I imagine a couple of more stims coming in from Yas, potentially. They've still got a lot to play around here, so I think it's okay to say, right, let's not force the issue here. We've tried the rush, we've been shut down, we've got a couple of kills, great. 4 versus 3, and this is very reminiscent of what we saw back in round 3, when FAV had the numbers advantage. They had 2 minutes and 5 to play with. They took a bit of time. They got back on the drones. They made sure they were going for the right sort of play. And that looks to be exactly what DAMWON Kia are doing as well. So good composure and good, you know, resilience/patience being shown here by the Korean team.
Katsang just going to feed in some of that utility now, try and... Generally, a lot of the time, those concussive grenades, they're not used specifically to concuss somebody. They're not looking for that effect necessarily to assist in a fight. Sometimes it will be that, but it's quite often just about an information gathering tool. It's about firing it in there. If it doesn't detonate, you know that there's nobody playing inside a blue bar, for example, so you can start to push in there, and that's quite often how they are used. And again, that's going to give an idea that there's nobody inside of the courtyard, but Katsang does find Legator down in the main lobby. Quartered's getting the diffuser down. Typon cut down as he tries to get to him. That's going to be activated. Woogieman taking a lot of damage from number 2 on the long angle, but shut down underneath the leg holes that had been opened up, and that is going to be DAMWON Kia not just winning this one, Des, but cruising through it.
Again, one of those that I look at and just think, for DAMWON Kia, it was another day at the office, and for FAV, another day in the dumpster. Things not looking good for them, it feels like. Some really good rounds out of DAMWON Kia. I don't want to pile all the focus onto FAV, because a lot of that did come from an excellent showing from DAMWON Kia. Rin really dragging through a few rounds in that first half as well, and making sure